What is going on, guys? I'm the Moose, and today I'm bringing you another weapon comparison video. This time it's going to be the Vector versus the MP7. I think this will be a very enjoyable episode, especially since these are two underrated SMGs compared to things like the PDW or the MSMC, and I personally think these are two of the best SMGs in the game. So let's get right into it. We're going to hop right into it with the level that each of these are unlocked at. You will unlock the MP7 at level 4 and the Vector at level 16. Obviously that's not much of a difference. And I think that even if you are prestiging and things like that, you're not going to really have to worry about, you know, having to unlock the Vector, even though it's a little bit later. Honestly, the difference isn't enough to be a factor, in my opinion. Moving on to damage now. The damage profile for each of these weapons is exactly the same. It is 33 at close range and 18 at long range. That's basically going to mean it's going to be either a 4 or 6 shot kill. Yeah, 6 shots at a long range is kind of a damper, but overall it's not too bad, and you shouldn't really have to worry about it that much. And obviously, since they're the same damage profile, you really don't have much of a difference between them, or any difference at all for that matter. Moving on to reload time, the MP7 has a reload time of 1.8 seconds, while the Vector has a reload time of 2 seconds flat. This obviously is not much of a difference either. It's just a fifth of a second for the MP7's favor, but overall, you're not really going to notice that. Fast mag on the MP7 is ridiculously quick. I actually have fast mag on in this gameplay for the Vector, and you can see how fast the reload is. I love fast mag on SMGs. If you guys have watched my gameplays before with the MSMC, things like that, I use fast mag all the time because it just helps a lot overall with every SMG, to be completely honest. Moving on to magazine size now. The magazine size for each of these are very similar as well. The MP7 has a magazine size of 40, while the Vector has a magazine size of 36. Obviously the Vector's slacking by 4 rounds, but overall that's not too much of a difference. You're really not going to even notice that, unless you're really picky about your magazine size. You probably won't have to worry about it with these two guns. Moving on to rate of fire now. The Vector has a rate of fire of 937 rounds per minute, while if you have select fire on and you are using select fire, it will actually become a 2-round burst. So yeah, it's kind of awkward where the M8 is a 4-round burst. The Vector is actually a 2-round burst with select fire on. It's kind of like the AN94, I guess. So you got to keep that in mind, and it will have a 1250 rounds per minute per burst, which is actually pretty insane. It's a really fast fire, especially for an SMG. The MP7, on the other hand, has a 937 rounds per minute, so exact same as the Vector, but its 3-round burst with select fire is only 803 rounds per minute, so it's obviously a little bit less than the Vector. Moving on to recoil now. The MP7 is a recoil that is fairly moderate. It's definitely easily controlled, at least in my opinion. It's kind of like the MSMC's recoil, whereas the Vector has an extremely low recoil, in my opinion. I use the the word medium low because that's what's on the Call of Duty wiki. By the way, the wikis for both of these will be down in the description. That's where I get all my stats and things like that. But they're both fairly low recoil, and you really should not have to worry about the recoil for either one, but I would say the Vector does have an advantage in the recoil department. So that does it for all the stats. Moving on to my opinion now. As you guys can probably see, the weapons are very similar. There's really not much of a difference between either of these guns. The MP7 has a little bit of a leg up on the Vector because its magazine size is 4 higher. You unlock it a little bit earlier, but overall the Vector also has a lower recoil than the MP7. That's something you definitely want to keep in mind. The damage profiles are the same, so it's kind of hard to differentiate with that. I would say personally that I like the Vector better. I feel like the recoil helps me much more. I'm a person that loves low recoil weapons like the M27 or the Vector, things like that. Those are big hits for me. But I don't know. Overall, they're both very good guns. They're both very similar. And if you're looking for something that's not the MSMC per se, because I know a lot of people use that a lot, or even the PDW, which a lot of people used in the past. Maybe not now since they patched it, but I would say the Vector and the MP7 are both very viable options, and they're very nice to use when you're kind of bored of the same old like the MSMC. But that about does it for the commentary, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this weapon comparison video. Please leave down in the comments what you'd like for next week, and I will surely accommodate to you guys. I actually think the MP7 versus the Vector was a commenter's suggestion that I used, so don't quote me on that, but If it was, I am very glad that I used your comments. One quick note about a quick tip on Saturday. I will be going away tomorrow, so I will not have a quick tip video up on Saturday, but that's alright. I'll definitely have the same old schedule starting again on Monday. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully leave a like, and I'll see you later.